So as we pick up with the second half of Infinity Gauntlet issue number 5, we're actually going to see things move at a pretty quick pace. In addition, we're going to see the circumstances begin to flip on Thanos. And again, this is all tied to Thanos' arrogance, because what we see taking place here is that the Watcher is informing us that Thanos has usurped the role of eternity. And so within the Earth 616 universe, Thanos reigns supreme. Thanos has absolute power, and Thanos comments on this. Thanos responds to Taraxia when she asks him about his body, and he says it's no longer needed, that he's rid himself of something as base as flesh, and that he's rid himself of all vulnerability. And the Watcher comments, the Watcher says that because Thanos has absolute power within this universe, that Thanos can virtually change anything he wants to, that the Earth 616 universe is subject to his every whim, and that this may very well lead to the destruction of the universe, or even if it doesn't, it may lead to the universe being, irrevocably changed. But what we see taking place here is that, again, Thanos' arrogance has gotten the best of him, that in Thanos failing to more or less keep things in check, that he has succumbed to the fact that there are individuals out there, despite the fact that they're only mortal, that do have the ability to defeat him. And the reason for this is because while Thanos is swept up in the idea of having absolute power, he fails to realize that Nebula has her own thoughts and her own emotions, that Nebula, despite the fact that she's somewhat of a husk, has this understanding that Thanos wielding absolute power with the Infinity Gauntlet could simply just be seized from him if she chose to do so. And that's what she does. What we see is that almost immediately after Thanos usurps the role of eternity, and while everybody else is distracted, Nebula takes the chance to take the Infinity Gauntlet from Thanos. And when she does, Thanos reverts back to his normal form. He loses this absolute power. Taraxia initially tries to intervene here. She tries to stop Nebula, but she's not able to. And so what we see is that Nebula, using the Infinity Gauntlet, restores herself back to her previous form, back to the point in which she is a normal, healthy being. And so she sort of taunts Thanos here. She tells Thanos that the mantle of absolute power rests on new shoulders, that she is in fact the one that wields absolute power. And what she tells Thanos is that of all the things that she could do with the Infinity Gauntlet, the one thing she wants to do most at this moment is to get revenge on Thanos. And so what she does is she banishes Thanos and Taraxia into deep space. From here, we transition back to Adam Warlock, the Silver Surfer, and Doctor Strange in the residence of Doctor Strange. And Adam Warlock immediately realizes that the Infinity Gauntlet has changed hands, that Thanos is no longer in possession of it. And so what he says here is that things have gone from bad to worse. Now, why this has happened is something that we won't fully understand for the next little bit, but Adam Warlock simply gives us a brief explanation by saying that Nebula, as a result of her experience walking the line between life and death, in addition to the past experiences she has had, has left her in a state of total derangement and pain and anguish. And so as a result, she could very well just destroy the universe without really intending to. And so what we see is Adam Warlock telling Doctor Strange that they need his mystic powers. From here, we transition back to Thanos and Taraxia. And what we see Thanos doing here is, lamenting in a way, is more or less remorsing over the fact that Taraxia has died. And the reason why is because while Thanos had created Taraxia using the power of the Infinity Gauntlet, he had not created her in a way to where she could survive deep space. And so she's not able to survive. She has in fact died as a result of her inability to presumably breathe outside of the protection of the shrine he had created for Mistress Death. And so Thanos feels left alone. He feels like he's the only one left. And for the most part, he's beginning to think about this. He's beginning to draw on the experience of losing an individual that he held most dearly when a portal opens beneath him, and the gravity on the other side of the portal pulls him through. Once Thanos gets through the portal, what we see is that he's joining Adam Warlock, the Silver Surfer, and Doctor Strange, again within the residence of Doctor Strange. And the immediate reaction of of the Silver Surfer is to attack Thanos. And again, the reason why here is because the Silver Surfer, despite the fact that he had led Galactus to various planets, had always led Galactus to uninhabited planets after the Silver Surfer's encounter with the Fantastic Four. And so he views Thanos as a person beyond any sort of remorse, a person beyond any ability to, I guess, maybe make up for, or I guess to atone for his actions. And so he feels as though the only thing that can be done here is to destroy Thanos. But I would also go as far as to say that there's a little bit of revenge here too, in the sense that Thanos had killed helpless beings. Now, initially, Doctor Strange tries to intervene, but Adam Warlock tells him to stay back because the power between the Silver Surfer and Thanos is more than Adam Warlock or Doctor Strange can deal with. And so Adam Warlock tells Doctor Strange to summon help. Doctor Strange says he's ahead of Adam Warlock here, and what we see is that Doctor Strange opens a portal, and when he does, he retrieves the only 5 superheroes that had survived the encounter with Thanos, and these superheroes being Eric Masterson as Thor, the Incredible Hulk, Firelord, Doctor Doom, and Drax the Destroyer. And when they arrive, they're able to pull Thanos and the Silver Surfer apart. Adam Warlock begins to comment and say that the whole reason why Thanos is here is to help them save the universe from destruction. And what Thanos does is he gives us an explanation as to why it is the Infinity Gauntlet is in such dangerous hands in the possession of Nebula. What Thanos tells us here is that it's not enough to simply just wield the Infinity Gauntlet, that the Infinity Gauntlet has an intense toll, or takes an intense toll, on the mind of the person who wields it, and that Thanos, by virtue of his intellect and his past experiences, in addition to the fact that he is a hybrid of I guess, deviant and eternal genes of sorts, was able to manipulate the Infinity Gauntlet in such a way to where he could control it more or less. But that Nebula doesn't have this. Nebula does not have the intellect to withstand the overwhelming sensations that the Infinity Gauntlet brings to her. She doesn't have the mental fortitude to withstand the sudden rush of the recognition of all life in the universe, the sudden rush of the knowledge of knowing that everything is within her control. And so because of this, her mind, as fragile as it is, may very well crack. And when it does, she may subconsciously destroy the universe and everybody in it. And so what we see is that we transition back to Adam Warlock, and we see Adam Warlock more or less asking everybody if they agree to the plan that he's created. Now, at the moment, we don't know what this plan is, and we actually won't find out what it is until Infinity Gauntlet issue number 6. And when Adam Warlock and Thanos are alone, Thanos asks Adam Warlock what it is that he wants. And Adam Warlock says that they need Thanos' help, that it's not simply as though Thanos can or cannot choose, that the plan cannot go through if Thanos doesn't agree to assist them. And Thanos asks why. He says, what would happen if he chose not to intervene, if he chose not to fight on behalf of Adam Warlock and the other superheroes? And the question is, what does he benefit from, or what benefit does he gain if he chooses to fight on their behalf? Adam Warlock replies by saying that he'll give Thanos the truth. And Thanos asks what truth he's talking about. And Adam Warlock says it is the truth within Thanos. And this is a very intriguing conversation here, because what Adam Warlock tells us is that while he was within the Soul Gem, and while Thanos wielded the Soul Gem, or as long as it was in his possession, that Adam Warlock had a very unique viewpoint of Thanos' inner soul. He was able to, in fact, look within Thanos himself. And the one thing that he was able to understand here is that Thanos subconsciously realized that he was not worthy of wielding absolute power. And this is the reason why every attempt that Thanos had made to gain absolute power had always failed. Adam Warlock goes on to say that when Thanos first appeared in Marvel Comics and he was attempting to wield the Cosmic Cube, that subconsciously he allowed Captain Marvel to destroy the Cosmic Cube. That when he had gained the Infinity Gems for the first time and combined them into one massive gem, that again he subconsciously allowed himself to be defeated, and that allowing himself to become one with eternity, and despite the fact that he could have easily stopped it, allowing Nebula to gain the Infinity Gauntlet was yet again another example of him subconsciously recognizing that he's the means to his own defeat, that he recognizes subconsciously that he's not able to wield absolute power, or that he's not worthy of it. And so there's always this part of his mind that creates a set of circumstances whereby his defeat will be inevitable. Thanos begins to look into himself and realize that this is true, and so he agrees to Adam Warlock's plan. From here, we transition back to Nebula, and what we see is that Nebula is speaking with Eros, despite the fact that he still is unable to talk. And what Nebula says is that she's beginning to understand Thanos' hunger for power, the hunger for the infinite might of the Infinity Gauntlet. And the reason why is because her mind may not necessarily be as shattered as we were led to believe. Now, we don't really know if she's been able to overcome the sudden influx of all facets of reality. But what she tells Eros is that she recognizes that all of reality is hers to sculpt, that she can do anything she wants to with it, and that she will never again be subjected to a position where she will be made to, engage in activities that she would normally be against. Now, this isn't designed to indicate anything sexual in the sense that she was made to, engage in any kind of sexual activity. It's more of the fact that she would be subject to somebody else's whim. She would be made to kill other people, or she would be made to conquer other races. Instead, she could do whatever it is that she wants. And so what she says is that it's a very satisfying thing to us, or to her, that it's a very satisfying feeling to know that there's nothing that can overcome her. And what she does is she kind of gives a demonstration of the power she possesses by saying that she's aware that there is going to be a coming battle, that in exactly 5 seconds, the Earthbound superheroes will be arriving. And so what we see is that a portal opens up almost immediately after this is said, and that the Earthbound superheroes, Firelord, Thor, Doctor Doom, the Incredible Hulk, and Drax the Destroyer arrive and attempt to defeat Nebula. But again, she uses the power of the Infinity Gauntlet to demonstrate that there's nothing they can do to stop her. And what she does is she encases them in some sort of weird kind of rocky, force, or some kind of rocky form, to where all of them are locked in place and there's nowhere they can go. And so what she says is that she realizes that this is not simply just the arbitrary actions of a handful of superheroes doing what they can to defeat her, that this has all been orchestrated, and that most likely this has been orchestrated by Thanos. And so what we see is that Adam Warlock, the Silver Surfer, Thanos, and Doctor Strange appear, and that they're going to do what they can to defeat Nebula. And again, we'll see this plan come to fruition in issue number 6. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and bring this video to an end. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, let me know, and I will catch you guys later. Peace.